You can't help that.
Right.
But if you are a comedian who gets to white people and they're like, nah, you can say nigger around me. I don't care. Like, I don't like them kind of comedians. Who,
That is weird. And you know though about that, as like you think about people like that situation is interesting, right? With Chappelle, I'm thinking like you grew up around a bunch of white people, and there's a part of you I think that still wants to make sure you identify with your people. So like I think that if you got a chance to do a set for a black audience, you wouldn't turn it down because you'd be like, "Meet my people. Why wouldn't I be able to make entertain my own people?" You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he's just avoiding black audiences, even though
but
his set
who's
gets more white love, like
like
Chappelle
Dave?
Lacey. Like yeah,
Oh, Chappelle Lacey.
he might get like more white love right now, or get like more like white crowds that fuck with him heavier. I don't know what his audience split looks like when he goes and does the show. But if
Like,
it's more white than black, I don't think that's because he said I prefer more white audiences. I
no,
think
it's
that
because his topics relate
exactly
more
because
to that.
what else his surroundings were.
Yeah, he grew up with a white
But if you
foster family.
asked
You know what I
him
mean?
probably like, would you do an all black room right now? And like they was fucking with you, he'd probably be like, absolutely. I probably would enjoy those laughs even more.
Yeah, because
Honestly, I think all comics. I don't know. Maybe
black
I'm
laughs
biased.
are harder to get.
The
So
black laugh ratio of value is like here to there. Like when you hear a bunch of niggas laughing, you like, oh shit, that was a good one. You hear a room full of white people laughing, you like, ah, that was a really funny joke. But niggas is laughing, it sound like you blew the roof off.
facts.
That's all. That's just how they sound. You'd be like, oh, that's a good ass joke. Am I a legend? Like you start questioning everything.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's
it's a good high.
I love these type of conversations in comedy, and I've felt these type of pressures myself. So when I started in Colorado Springs, Colorado, which isn't a big comedy town. I mean, now they're starting to, progress, but still not on a larger scale, right? And a lot of the crowds that I was performing in front of was predominantly white. Now we did have, the black side of town where I would do shows for predominantly black people as well. But for the most, when you were trying to get into the major comedy club there, it was white people. They had a black comedy club that ended up coming into town, and it was mixed because they were, book all types of comedians from all over the country. But I ended up moving to Florida, and when I moved to Florida, where I performed, it was a lot of old white people. If you think about Florida, you think about retirement, you think about a lot of Northerners from like New York, Boston, Rhode Island, all moving down once they retired to Florida, right? So when I was in Florida, that was a lot of the crowds that I was dealing with, especially in the town that I was in. So I lived, an hour west of Orlando and an hour north of Tampa. So I was kind of in the sticks, you know what I mean? Like that old timey trailer park. It was a nice area, I can't lie. I had a brand new house, so shout out to that area. But the comedy that I would do in those areas was predominantly old white people. And I've always was interested in like doing the comedy clubs, the major comedy clubs like the Tampa Improv or the Orlando Improv. And I got a lot of flack from the older black comics. Now, looking back at it, I understand what they were saying and what they were trying to portray to me, but it also sounded like a bunch of bullshit. And the reason why I say it sounded like a bunch of bullshit is because every one of those comics wants to be at the Improvs or the Funny Bones or the Heliums, or the Mic Drops. These are your major comedy clubs, and these are where you're going to be able to make a decent living working the weekends. So with my act, I was like, I want to be in the mainstream. I've talked to OGs before where they say, black people will make you rich. No, black people will make you famous. White people make you rich. And when I thought about that, I was like, what kind of comedy do I want to do? Do I want to just be stuck in the comedy circuit of the Chitlin circuit, or do I want to be able to be out in front of large groups, right? Or in front of mixed crowds? Because I don't just perform for whites. I don't only just perform for black people. I perform for humans, right? Like I want my jokes to be able to cross boundaries of white, black, Asian, Mexican. Like funny is funny in my eyes, right? So at some point I was forced, and I won't say forced. I will say that I took it upon myself to challenge myself, right? And I was like, I need to be working in front of a different type of crowd, because if I'm only doing white crowds, am I really that funny? So I said, I'm going to Atlanta. Atlanta is the black capital of the world. I'm finna go and I'm finna do stand up and I'm finna kill it. And when I went there, it is not easy to make black people laugh, okay? Like I noticed there's a big difference between white laugh and black laugh, right? And it's prominent. And I keep thinking to myself, a lot of these white comics that people revere as like the top comics, if they went to a black room, they would not be able to motherfucking handle it. But they don't have to, right? If that's not your demographic, you don't have to go to those rooms. So I understand why they don't go to those rooms, right? But I know for a fact, if some of these killed Tony Hinchcliffe, let's see who else. Rogan, I don't care what nobody say. Let's see who else would be one of those. I think even Shane Gillis, I don't think they would do good in the Apollo, or I don't think they would do good at Atlanta Comedy Theater or Uptown Comedy Corner. Like, I don't see it happening, right? But when you're in the mainstream, I think when you're in the mainstream, it's a different demographic. So you're able to appeal to your audience, and that audience is white. So when I go to Atlanta and I do my shit, I fucking bomb. And at first I was really down on myself. I was like, damn, yo, maybe I'm not funny to black people. Maybe I am just up here, getting mediocre laughs from white folks. And when it broke down to it, when I broke it down, there was a lot of comics that lived in Atlanta or went to Atlanta and didn't do well. But for me, I'm one of those challenged people. I'm like, yo, I'm going to take it upon myself to get back up on the horse, go back to the same club and have a different result. And within a year, I went back to Uptown Comedy Corner and I did extremely well. Did I kill it? No. Did I get a standing ovation? No. But I was able to get laughs that I didn't get before. I was able to get compliments from the comedians that see me the first time and how they see me the second time. And then I made it a part to now I'm going to go to black rooms, right? Colleen had an all black owned club where it was black people consistently. San Antonio, Upstage Comedy Corner, Comedy Lounge is a black owned comedy club in the area where it's a lot of black people. I said, these are the clubs I'm going to go because I need to polish that tool or sharpen that tool. And I'm like, how do I get better so every demographic likes me? Because I know I can do well in the right room. Because when I was in Florida, old white people, no cursing, clean sets, I was doing extremely well. Extremely well. Because I felt like I could relate to that group with some of the some of the jokes that I had. And I can relate to my black people by some of the jokes that I have. I can relate to and what's crazy about it is that my stand-up, it went from being really raunchy and really offensive to now talking about my family. And I just talked about to my mom about this today, watching Bill Cosby and watching Bernie Mac and watching Damon Wayans, like all of their progression was getting into sitcoms, and some of those sitcoms were based off of some of their sets. So I'm looking further ahead and not just looking at only, hey, I want to be a stand-up for the next 20 years. It's more of like, how can I evolve into something else to make money? Yes, I want to be a fucking stand-up. That is the basis. A touring comic that sells out comedy clubs and that is able to build a following off of the thoughts that I have that make people laugh. But I have a sitcom ready to go. I have, because I want to executive produce. I do. This is something that, there's so many different, I love sitcoms, right? And I was watching The Cosby Show today. I was watching How I Met Your Mother today. I was watching Sanford and Son, and watching these what are they called? These sitcoms made me realize that there's another avenue for me after stand-up, right? I just know that you have to be able to appeal to all people if you want to be in that space. I don't know if you got, like, in Austin, I know there's people that pander to white folks. I see them, they're getting opportunities, and that's fine. That's how they want to go. Then you got some niggas that's here, you know, and niggas that's getting opportunities as well. But I think that there is a certain type of black people that the industry wants to push forward. And then there's others where they're like, I don't know, right? Like, one of my favorite female comics is Miss Pat, because Miss Pat is still herself, but still still was able to move the needle and get that next level, right? And I find myself being like, I need to stay true to myself, continue to get better, and write stuff that's universal for all races and not just one. So tell me what y'all think. Do y'all think that it's better for comedians to conform to what the industry is looking for, or is it more so being yourself? And also, do you feel like black comedy is different than white comedy as far as the reception that they get, the reaction that they get from the crowd? Because I notice it, and I want to know, if you're a comedy fan, do you notice it? Put it in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, push the video, thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't care. Just do something to help the algorithm to get this shit out. I'll holla at y'all later.